As expected, London, the capital, will move to Tier 3. I'm told by two MPs who are on that call that will happen from 1 minute past midnight. All of hospitality having to close and move to takeaway only. It also means, in terms of our social interactions with each other, it will mean that people are not able to mix in private gardens, not able to mix in pub gardens and restaurant outdoor areas either. So a real blow to hospitality in the run-up to the Christmas period.
Over the last few days, thanks to our world-class genomic capability in the UK, we have identified a new variant of coronavirus, which may be associated with the fastest spread in the southeast of England.
The new variant contains 23 different changes, many of them associated with changes in the protein that the virus makes. But on top of that, there are three questions that need to be asked. Does the new variant transmit more readily, i.e. does it make an increased chance of spread and growth? The second is, does it alter the course of the disease? Does it make people sicker? And the third is, does it alter the way that the immune system, the way the body responds to it if it's been previously infected or following the vaccine?
Well, actually, we were concerned at the time that the Prime Minister announced the 5-day relaxation for Christmas, because the science told us then that the virus was spreading week on week. It just did not follow the science to relax the rules. Last Wednesday, before the new variant was announced, it was obvious that the infection was spreading at a dangerous level. The NHS was in a dangerous state.
The main difference with this variant is that it is up to 70% more transmissible. That is quite staggering when you consider you have a virus which we already know is easily transmitted from people to people.
COVID levels rising, Greenwich Council advised local schools to move to online learning. But the council leader was forced to reverse his advice when the government threatened legal action.
We've had the latest coronavirus figures for the United Kingdom. Let's tell you what they are. 35,928 new cases of COVID-19 in today's figures. That's a pretty big jump from 27,000 yesterday, so a nearly 9,000 new cases as compared to yesterday.
It looks as if the rules for Christmas are not going to change in any nation of the United Kingdom. A source close to the government has said that the UK regions have decided that they're not going to change any of it. Political leaders have, however, agreed to stronger messaging around the need for people to limit their contact at Christmas. The public will be urged to keep travel to a minimum and use common sense in regard to the social contact.
It's just a week since the United Kingdom began the biggest vaccination programme in our history, with 138,000 recipients of the first dose and more joining them every minute. There's no doubt that we are winning and will win our long struggle against this virus, which makes it all the more important that we hold our nerve this winter, because we're now in a race to protect us all while doing everything we can to keep the virus under control. But I must be frank with you, we're already seeing worrying rises in some parts of the country. Kent is still seeing rising infections. The number of cases in London is at 270 per 100,000 people. That's why we acted quickly by moving London into the third tier, Tier 3, from today. And having looked at the latest data with our colleagues in the devolved administrations, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, we've decided that the overall situation is, alas, worse, more challenging than we'd hoped when we first set the rules. So, while it would not be right, we think, to criminalise people who have made plans and simply want to spend time with their loved ones, we're collectively, across the UK, governments at every level, asking you to think hard and in detail about the days ahead and whether you can do more to protect yourself and others. We're keeping the laws the same, but we all want to send the same message. A smaller Christmas is going to be a safer Christmas, and a shorter Christmas is a safer Christmas.
NHS leaders say the significant extra risk involved with mixing at Christmas is being ignored. And at a time when the health service will be busiest, there are 10,000 fewer beds available than at the same time last year. There are no calls to change the planned UK Christmas rules, but rising infections and hospital admissions don't bode well.
The Government Office for Science says the R value, which measures the rate the virus is spreading, is now between 1.1 and 1.2, up on last week. Other figures revealed the rapid surge in the virus as soon as lockdown was lifted. The Office for National Statistics estimates in the week up to the 12th of December, more than 567,000 people in England had the infection.
Well, the guidance across the 4 nations of the UK is now looking quite different. We can explain more. In England, 38 million people, that's 68% of the population, will be living under tighter coronavirus restrictions from tomorrow. Between the 23rd and 27th of December, up to 3 households can form a bubble. But Boris Johnson has also not ruled out another national lockdown after Christmas.
Will we still get Christmas, Prime Minister?
For months, he's wanted to play Santa, not Scrooge, over restrictions. Number 10's present to everyone after a difficult year. But spiralling case numbers bring into sharp relief whether the benefit now is outweighed by the cost in January. On the one hand, Boris Johnson breaks his Christmas pledge to voters. On the other, he risks more infections, more deaths, more lockdown. An impossible choice.
We don't want to, as I say, to ban Christmas, to cancel it, and I think that would be frankly inhuman and against the instincts of many people in this country.
In your mind, is there any possibility that this government will look again about the Christmas window, given the rate of infection is where it is, given that, in 8 days' time, after 8 days of, tier 3 conditions here in London, hundreds of thousands of people will be travelling to various parts of the country to see their loved ones and potentially taking COVID-19 with them. You can't tell me that this doesn't remain under review.
But all things are always kept under review. But there's the balance.
So Christmas could be cancelled.
No, there's a balance to be struck. Many families have not seen each other all year. Mm-hmm. It is important for people's well-being, for their mental health. We don't want to criminalise people for coming together as a family over Christmas. But people shouldn't misinterpret what the guidelines say. It's not saying that people must go and see family. It's saying that where families want to see each other, they won't be criminalised for doing so. But it's important people do the minimum that is possible. So people will make their own judgments.
Yesterday afternoon, I was briefed on the latest data that shows the virus spreading more rapidly in London, the southeast and the east of England than would be expected, given the tough restrictions that are already in place. And I also received an explanation for why the virus is spreading more rapidly in these areas. It seems that the spread is now being driven by the new variant of the virus, which we spoke about earlier this week and learned about earlier this week. Our advisory group on new and emerging respiratory virus threats, NervTag, has spent the last few days analysing this new variant. There's no evidence that it causes more severe illness or higher mortality, but it does appear to be passed on significantly more easily. NervTag's early analysis suggests the new variant could increase the R by 0.4 or more, and although there's considerable uncertainty, it may be up to 70% more transmissible than the old variant, the original version of the disease. This is early data and it's subject to review, but it's the best that we have at the moment, and we have to act on information as we have it, because this is now spreading very fast. The UK has by far the best genomic sequencing ability in the world, which means we're better able to identify new strains like this than any other country. The Chief Medical Officer last night submitted our findings so far to the World Health Organization, and will continue to be totally transparent with our global partners. There's still much that we don't know. While we're fairly certain the variant is transmitted more quickly, there's no evidence to suggest it is more lethal or causes more severe illness. Equally, there's no evidence to suggest the vaccine will be any less effective against the new variant. Our experts will continue their work to improve our understanding as fast as we can. So we're learning about it as we go, but we already know enough, more than enough, to be sure that we must act now. So I met ministers on the COVID Operations Committee last night, and again first thing this morning. Cabinet met at lunchtime to agree the following actions. We must, I'm afraid, look again at Christmas, and as Prime Minister, it's my duty to take difficult decisions, to do what is right to protect the people of this country. Given the early evidence we have on this new variant of the virus, the potential risk it poses, it is with a very heavy heart, I must tell you, we cannot continue with Christmas as planned.